This is a set of short videos following my path to get this beloved 1995 Mercedes 200 TE back on the road. It has been off-road for at least 5 years, and I'll check that before I do another video. I recently jump-started it just to see if it would run, and it did run. And I checked most of the electricals, and most of them were still working. But it gave me enough optimism to say I would start doing some small investments into getting it running, and then take it to a proper MOT license bureau to give me a good inspection and to tell me what it would need to actually pass MOT. So the first thing I have done is remove the battery. Well, technically the first thing I did was to raise the roof to vertical position, and if you don't know how to do that, maybe I'll do that in another video. I mean, I can do all of these things. I am not a mechanic, not even a very good DIYer, but I grew up near a farm, and so have an appreciation of things mechanical and like to fiddle with them and do what I can before turning it over to the experts. So the first thing I did was remove the old battery, and I'm sorry I didn't video some of that because that was a challenge. I had to wait overnight for an extension piece, which I'll get right now and show you. So I had to order overnight from Amazon for £5 this extension piece so I could get down into the securing bracket and take the bolt off and take the bracket off. Now that was still quite a tight fit. It is I used a 14mm nut, but when I disconnected the battery terminals there and tucked them out of the way, negative first, then positive, it was a 13mm nut, so I just kind of wonder if it's actually a 13mm nut down there. I was just able to get it with a 14mm nut. And then the bracket was hard to get off. I had to use a long screwdriver to just kind of pry it loose, but when it became loose, then I could slip both my hands down there and carry it out. But then I couldn't get the battery out. And I was afraid that there was a rear holding bracket, and I really couldn't believe that, because Mercedes wouldn't make it that hard. But that's when I went ahead and raised the bonnet so I could look down into the back. And when the bonnet was up, I was able to give it a straight lift out, and it was quite easy. So that was quite an accomplishment for me. And there's the old battery right over here, ready to go back into the into recycling. So while I've got the bonnet up, I've got my magnificent Henry Hoover out, and I'm taking out all the cobwebs and bits of acorns and leaves that have been around, and I've hoovered all that down there. And I'm just giving it a little bit of dry, because before I'd washed the windshield and some wet got down in there. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to drop the new battery in. And here are the ins and outs of raising the bonnet on this Mercedes S124, which is the estate version of the W124, to the vertical position. Don't know if I can do this to hold the camera at the same time, because you have to go into this little tab here, but you have to lower the hood a little bit, take pressure off, then you flick it out like that, like so, and it's flicked out, and then walk to the other side and do the same thing, but don't bring the hood down too far, because then it'll lock again on the other side. So just pull that out, take that out, take the weight off just a little bit, there you go, and now it'll just rise all the way up to the top. That's fantastic. And then to put it down, you just have to do it from this one side. You hold it here again. Don't know how I'm going to do this with the video on, because I want to be careful. There, you just pull that out, and then you grab it. You only have to do it to one side, and then let it lower slowly, and it will catch again on both sides. There we go. And there it is in normal position. I have actually had Henry Hoover running this whole time, but I'm going to go ahead and drop the new battery in. And here we go. There it is. It's the little small Lion 3-year guarantee battery. Not as big as the one that was in there, but that's okay. I just want to get this thing up and running, and if it does prove to be, you know, a good car again, then in due course I'll put a bigger battery in there. So that fits just quite nicely. I'll let that sit for a minute while I finish my hoovering around. Okay, here we're going to take the Lion battery. We're going to put it in the tray. Make sure we get the negatives on the right side, the positive on the right side. It's actually this way around. Yep. Well, that helps if I would just get that out of contention. Thank you. And put that in there like that. It's actually backwards to the label, but positive on the right side, negative on the right side. And now I'll get the fiddly securing bracket back on. Well, now try to get that nut started. I think I've got the nuts. Oh, nope. I'll have to use two hands probably to get that nut started. Had to pause there and talk with my son about his essay on Cicero and his oration against Catiline, and another against Mark Antony, which is a subject I'm better at than fixing cars. But now, where was I? I've got to get that nut that fell off, and I've got to resettle it so that I can secure it. Okay, I've got that nut nestled on there now, and I'm just going to go down there, try to get that started with the 14 mil nut. Yep, I think that worked. Yep. Yep, now I'm going to go ahead and ratchet that down. All right. There we go. That's okay, that's good enough. And now I'll put the terminals on, starting with the negative. Okay, I've got the terminals settled, and now I've got the 13 mil spanner here, wrench, that I'm going to use to just tighten them down a little bit properly. And then we're going to be able to do the next step, which is just test all the electrics to see what's working and what's not, confirm, make a list of things we're going to have to fix. And one may be trying to grab that wrench, but I don't. Oh, there we go. Don't need a grabber, which I don't have. Had to be another 24-hour wait to get that in. And then check the electrics. And then obviously I started up. I'm not going to let it run too long because clearly I know the need to get the fluids changed properly if we're going to have this run for any length of time. All right, there you go. Now that's all done. Battery secure, and I'll date it. Mark the date on the top. Okay, here we are. We're going to start it up. When I put the key in and tried it very quickly, the windshield wiper retracted to its original position, so that's a good sign that it works. But now I'm going to go ahead and try to start it. There we go. Self-sufficient starting. Step number 1 on getting the 1995 200TE Mercedes, the War Wagon, back on the road. So this was my first expenditure on my road to getting the old War Wagon back up and running. I have got a new rear wiper for these prices. Look at that. $374 for the rear wiper, $849 for the front wiper. These are Bosch. That's quite good. And then a new battery. I didn't invest in the best battery. I invested in a 3-year Lion battery for £44.49. So yeah, the VAT on my total investment so far is 68.3 1.07 pounds.